And I guess the other question that gets asked, especially somebody that's very new and just kind of starting to look at going into buying a property, the
Mm,
first default seems to be, I've gone to the bank. And
yeah.
I hear this a lot where I might have somebody, a client that'll say to me, "Oh, look, I went to the bank and the bank said, we don't have the capacity or we've got to save up more," or whatever it might be. And they get quite disheartened and they kind of give up.
Mm,
So I guess my question is, and I say to them, why don't you have you tried going to a mortgage broker? Because they might be able to help you where the banks can't help you. Um, and people kind of look at me and go, well, if the banks can't help me, what's the mortgage broker going to do as well? So there's that kind of mentality there that they don't seem to not shop around, but just go to, just the banks or a bank, not even
yeah.
multiple banks, but a bank. And then whatever feedback that they get, they give up on that. So I guess my next question is, banks versus mortgage brokerage, why would somebody go to a bank? Why would somebody go to a mortgage broker? What is it that the mortgage broker provides that's different to a bank?
Yeah, and I face that myself as well when I pick up the phone and there's a new person that I'm talking to.
Mhm.
It's either a case of they already have the education that brokers have a range of lenders, and we all do. Most brokers have a whole, what is called a panel, or that customer has been to their own bank or their parents' bank because that's all they know and they were declined, or perhaps they didn't get the limit that they were looking for. And
Mm.
that could be for various reasons. So it just comes down to a little bit of education, consumer education about what mortgage brokers can offer. And the big difference, like I said, is a choice of lender. So in some instances, if you go to your bank and your, let's say, income is not quite to that lender's policy, or the property that you're trying to purchase doesn't fit their policy, a lender only has their single suite of products
Mm.
to offer, and that is underlined by policy. There are small instances where some policy could be tweaked a little bit, provided your application is very strong. But the hurdle is normally that they only have a certain set of policies. And if your scenario doesn't fit that, then they have to say no because those are their guiding principles. Whereas with a broker, we work with the majors, the second tier lenders, some of the credit unions, and some non conforming lenders. So in most instances, we can find a solution for something that's a little bit outside the box. I'm obviously not talking about really bad credit or something that is really unusual. But in most instances, along that panel or that array of lenders and policies, we can find a solution. And when we look at 30 lenders worth of policies, that doesn't affect the client's credit score. Whereas if
Mm.
you do an application with Bank A, Bank B, Bank C, that's 3 entries on your credit score.
Oh.
So it could have a detrimental effect by, shopping around on your own,
Mm.
especially if you do things online. It's so easy for lenders to do credit checks. And yes, there are some that do what is called a soft touch credit check, where they just have a quick look at the score. It doesn't make an entry. But I have also seen instances where if you have to provide your full name, your date of birth, and your driver's license, that lender is most likely going to do a credit check. And that can hamper your chances of getting future approvals. So that's definitely, I would say, probably one of the biggest advantages is that choice. The other thing is we have policy knowledge of all those different changes. So if
Mm.
a new customer comes to me, for instance, and rattles off quickly their scenario, this is how I'm paid, this is how the rest of my income is derived, these are my liabilities, and this is the property that I'm trying to buy. There are already little things that tweak in my head. Okay, this bank won't accept that income, these guys are restricted on postcode, all those sorts of things.
Right.
So we're already eliminating some of the banks so that we don't go there and get a decline.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're saying that, just picking up on that, so what you're saying is that if somebody goes to multiple banks and applies and gets declined, that that could also affect their credit rating score.
Absolutely, yes. Every entry on your credit file drops your score
Oh,
because
wow.
banks are relatively risk averse, and
Yes.
there could be a case of them just assuming that you were declined unless the next banker or the broker explains the reasoning behind. But also, lenders have, not all lenders credit score, I should say, but lenders have some thresholds in terms of what they deem a good client's credit
Mhm.
score to be. And if you fall below that credit score, even if you fit the other policies, they still wouldn't consider your application. So it's just better to protect that credit score at all costs.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. I always learn something new every time I talk to you. That's really interesting. I didn't realize that because you do say to people shop around, but shopping around in this case could actually hurt you more than
Exactly.
help you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We
going
can do
rather
the shopping without the damage.
yes, definitely, definitely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Lana. We are going to hopefully, if you're comfortable, we are going to run a few more of these sessions. And
Happy to.
I love to be able to sort of, I guess, take our clients through a bit of a journey, so now we sort of know, okay, how to choose a mortgage broker and why you might go to a mortgage broker instead of a bank. Um, let's look at, from a renter's point of view or even from a landlord's point of view, what are some of the things that they need to start preparing when they come to talk to you so that it's a successful transaction and there's a lot of emotion involved, but we need to kind of put that to one side and focus on what it is that what information can we provide to help them to be successful when they have a chat with their mortgage broker.
Absolutely. Sometimes that little bit of preparation ahead of time can make all the difference.